Okay, so now I'm going to take a little detour from the official lab assignment, and the rest of the lab truly, what Dr. Dana wants you to do is take this map and make a pretty map out of it, showing the different centroids and expressing how those centroids are different, what the error are between those centroids. The way I'm going to approach this problem is by mapping out not only the uh, the different places, the USGS and the census points. I'm also going to map out the center between those points, and then using that to make a map showing that error. So what I need to do is I'm going to take this Texas combo and look at the attribute table. From this now, one cool option that you can do is that you can export out just that attribute table. So I'm going to do options and look under the same field of data. Oh, I'm sorry, look at export. And this is going to be the same kind of style of export data as before, but this time we're only exporting out the attribute table. So I'm going to export out this attribute table and call it centers.dbf. So that's cool. So I'm going to hit OK. That's going to export that out onto my H drive. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to my map too. One thing that I can do that's pretty cool is that I can now use the tool that we used multiple times now is add XY data. And this time I can add in my data from centers, but instead of choosing longitude, latitudes like before, I'm going to choose my long average and my lat average. And then I'm going to choose a coordinate system as North American datum 1983. So I'm just going to go back to geographic coordinate system, North America, scroll over, North American datum 1983, add, and I'm going to say OK. So now I brought back in and made another shapefile, and they're calling it centers event. But remember, this shapefile is not stored as an actual shapefile. Right now it's being stored as an event from that database. So I'm going to want to export that out to actually create a shapefile. The way I'm going to do that is, we've done this many times now too, is I'm going to right click on that layer and choose data, export data. And now I can actually export this out as a shapefile. I'm going to call this Texas Centers shapefile. Okay, exports out. Do you want to add it? I'm going to say yes. So now, if I look here, I'm just going to turn off this, and turn off this, and turn off this. Turn off everything besides my Texas centers. What I have now are points that are in between the actual centers. So one thing that I can do is zoom in, and right now I can't find my toolbar, so I'm going to go to Tools. Oh, sorry, go to Views, Toolbar, and here I'm going to choose my Tools toolbar, and that's going to have my zooming out and zooming in. That brought it up here. And I'm just going to go ahead and dock my toolbar on the side. And I'm going to zoom in on one of the points. So if I look here at this point that's in the middle of the county, I can hit on my information button and click it, and it's going to show me all the information. So this is Snyder, Texas, and if I go down, I see I have longitude, latitudes, and I have the difference and the 2 points. So if I was to click on my USGS and my census and zoom in even closer, I can see here that I have my USGS point here, my census point here, and I have the center of it right there. So for my map, what I want to do is that I want to show where the center is and then show an error and use the difference as my error. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off this USGS and the census again and just have this only. And the way I'm going to do that is through the Symbology. But before I do that, I have a small problem, is that some of the centers were way too off whenever they had a difference of over a degree or more of longitude and latitude, which is pretty extreme. If I sort this ascending or descending, I can see here that some of these here are just way too high, and I'm gonna have to say those might be errors that have happened through my GIS analysis. I'm not sure where those came from. I can investigate those further, but I'm going to decide just to take them out. I'm going to call those outliers for now, and if I right click here and look at my statistics, I can see here that I have 938 centers, and a majority of them fall in this range here, below this point. I'm not even sure what that is, but maybe 0.2. And my maximum is 6.3, and the mean is 0.04 with the standard deviation of 0.04. So I mean with 0.4. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just take out the outliers by saying anything that's above 0.04. Sorry, anything that's above 0.04 plus 1 standard deviation. I'm just gonna take it out, and I'm gonna keep everything underneath that. So that's gonna be 0.44. So if I look here, anything that's above 0.44 is not. I'm just not gonna keep it. So I can, of course, this is sorted by descending, and if I look here and I keep on going down, you see pretty much from this point down, this is all within that 1 standard deviation. All this over here is above. So I'm just going to remove these. So I'm going to select everything else besides that. And the way I'm going to do that is by clicking this one and then shifting and clicking the top one. That has those selected there. And then I'm going to delete them. And the way I have to do that is by using the editor toolbar. So I'm going to click on this little button here on my standard toolbar, and that's called editor toolbar. Here I can start my editing session, and we'll talk about editor toolbars in the future, but for now, editor toolbar allows you to edit the data itself. So I'm going to hit OK in my editor toolbar and start editing. Now I'll see a little pencil here, and that means I'm editing. So I can actually now come here and say delete selected, and that's going to delete out those points. So now I deleted out the points that were I'm saying that are just pure error. And then I can say editor, save edits, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop my editing session. So and just close out the toolbar. So now if I go back and look at my difference and sort it by descending, I can see the highest difference that I have is this 0.17, which is, I think, more reasonable. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. So now for I'm going to play with the Symbology tools. So if I right click here and open up my properties, here I can play with Symbology. So if I go here and click on the Symbology tab, right now it has a single symbol, but I can do things like categorize the symbology or quantities. I'm going to choose a quantity, and that I want it to be a graduated symbol. And you can see here kind of where I'm going with it. The field that I want my symbol sizes to be based on is the difference. So if I click on the difference, you can see here now they're showing the different size fields that it's going to give. So if I hit apply, I can see now the errors within the centers. I can also choose, instead of graduated symbols, I can choose proportional symbols, and I'll get a different style map. So difference. Oh, I guess I'm having a problem because of the values being small. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, it didn't work. So we'll just stick with the graduated symbols, difference, and we don't have any normalization on. That's okay. I can always make more than one value, break up the classes and have it really just do proportionize it. But I'm gonna just choose 5 different versions. I think that's a pretty good range. So I hit OK, and I have my points. So now if you look at these different points, I can see now, if I turn on my centers event, I'm going to get the points in the center, and if I just bring it up on top, actually we'll see the center points there. I can also turn on my Texas USGS and my Texas Census and zoom in on a certain layer. And let me just bring all these up to the top, and I can see now that these two have an error, and then it's saying now that this error is in proportion to that. But I'm still not liking that, because it's not really communicating what I wanted to communicate. I wanted to communicate that the exact error between the centers. So I'm still not very happy with that. What I want to do now is I need to go back to my attribute table, and if I go down and look at my difference is not a radius. My difference is a diameter, and the problem is that I want this to show a radius. So I need to go back and add a new field. So I'm going to choose add a field. I'm going to choose double, and this time I'm going to call it error radius, error rad, and hit OK. So now I'm going to have a new column that's going to be called error rad. This one is what I want to populate. This is with the half of this difference. So if I go here and say field calculator, I can choose my formula, and I'm going to choose difference, and I'm going to divide it by 2. So I'm just going to click on the division, and I'm going to type 2 and hit OK. That now populates this field with half of what was in here, which I think that's kind of cool. Now if I go here into my symbology, I can choose proportional symbols because I want the radius of the circle to be based on the error, and choose the error radius. And on my units, I know that this was decimal degrees, so I'm going to go here and choose decimal degrees, and I'm going to hit apply. So now if I see this is what I was wanting. I want to see the center point. I can see the error between the centers, and I can see a highlighted thing. So now if I go out and zoom to all of Texas by right-clicking Texas counties and zoom into layer, I can get an idea of all the errors that are happening. Some of those errors are small, so you don't really see anything, which is okay. But if I zoom in to like a certain area, like in Austin, I'll start seeing more circles popping up. And if I zoom in closer, because they're based on size. So now I can see, like here in the Austin area, we have this error, this error, this error, this error. We have a few errors going on here with different centers. So this is going to be the map that I want to make. And I think this is a pretty good example. You see, like here we have Austin here, and that's the center. And then this city, whichever city it is. So let's go ahead from here, and then we'll look at how to make a map in the next document, in the next video.